Hi, welcome to Awakening with Angela. Today I wanted to talk to you about massage therapy and what it means to receive a really good massage service. One that is ethically sound and is following the laws that have been outlined for our profession of licensed massage therapy. So the reason that I want to talk to you about this is because, unfortunately, because of a lack of awareness, training, and often because of a lack of clear communication, unfortunate experiences have happened for many people who receive massage therapy. And this has created some misunderstandings of what is a good massage. And sometimes I'll hear from clients, they'll say, "Oh, I don't really like getting massaged. It just hurts too much." And that just hurts my heart because massage should never hurt. Now, for some people, they like deeper pressure. And so the experience of a deeper massage can actually feel really relieving to some people. But to another person who doesn't like deep pressure, that might just feel like they're being beat up the whole session. And it's really important that you communicate with your therapist. Please don't ever worry about hurting our feelings. We just want you to feel good. We are here to help, and we only want you to have a good massage experience. And there are ways that we're trained as massage therapists to look out for different signs that might tell us if a client maybe isn't speaking up about the amount of pain, and we check in with you to see how the pressure is. But at the end of the day, we can't really know how you're feeling unless you tell us. And it's not fair for you to pay for a service that you leave feeling like you were heard during the session. And so never at any time is it a problem for you to tell the therapist to go lighter, even if you have to say it multiple times, because sometimes there's different areas of the body that will be able to hold pain, or not pain, but discomfort, pressure, more than others. Often people will be able to take a lot more pressure up in their traps than perhaps they could on the tops of their legs or the backs of their legs. Those are some areas that can be a little bit more tender. So this can also have to do with if you have an area that maybe you overuse it. So that could make it a little bit more sensitive. And on the flip side of that, overuse can sometimes make an area feel like it has no sensation at all. So this is why it's so important that we're communicating throughout the session and moving forward, really, because the more that you receive massage and we're actually breaking down some of this knotted up tissue, you will have more flexibility, you'll have more blood flow. And so it's possible, and really something that we hope for, that you're gonna have more sensation the longer that you're receiving massage. So you can always change the setup, the arrangement of how your massage is handled. And this is an ongoing relationship between you and your therapist. So in my practice, I always check in with my clients before we start any massage service. But when you first come in, we always go over your intake form first. So this is a form that you receive before we even meet, and it allows you to fully express what it is that you're wanting from the massage session. If there's any goals, if you are carrying tension anywhere, if you have any past injuries, also any medical history or medications that you're taking, so that I can make sure that there's no contraindications to you receiving massage, to make sure that you're completely safe and taken care of properly. And when you come in for your session, I always ask that people arrive about 10 to 15 minutes before their massage appointment begins so that we can sit down and go over this form together so that we can make a plan for what's the best way to go about the session. How can we use this time so that you really get everything that you're wanting out of the session, or so that I can help you to build a treatment plan of how we can do that over several sessions. And with each session that you come to, I'm always going to talk with you before you get down on the table, because I want to see how's your progress. And I also want to know what's going on in your life, because sometimes there are circumstances that can lead a person to be more tender than maybe they were previously. So this could be because a person just got over, having a really bad cold and they laid in bed for a week. And then the back might be more tender because of that. Also, if a person happens to move over the weekend and they're carrying furniture and heavy boxes, then maybe their legs and their arms are going to be more sore. And so it's important for me to be aware of those things so that I can adjust the pressure and so that I can give more care to those areas that really need it. So one of the things that has happened over the years that massage therapy has become more popular is that deep tissue massage has gotten this really bad rap where people think that deep tissue massage is always painful massage. Even people that receive deep tissue, that like deep tissue, sometimes they'll say things like, "Oh, I like a massage that hurts." And it's like, okay, we're going to need to talk about that, because sometimes people don't realize that if we overexcite the nervous system during a massage, there's actually chemicals that are released in the bloodstream that make it so that you can't feel pain in the same way. It's part of our sympathetic nervous system to help us if we're in some kind of dangerous situation. And that isn't helpful during a massage, because if you can't feel the pain, then you can't let the therapist know that they need to adjust the pressure, and then we can end up bruising you, and then you really don't get what you're wanting out of the massage. And also, we don't have to have this harder pressure in order to have a good result. I think that's really important, that we want the nervous system to stay relaxed. So whatever it is that we're doing during the massage, you should always feel good. You should even feel to a point that you're so relaxed that you can fall asleep. Even if there is deep pressure, it should always be within that threshold that feels relieving. If it's ever stepping over that line and you're really having to grit and bear it to receive the massage, that your breathing starts to get rapid, or you notice that your heart rate's going up, or you might even have experience where there's a flush of heat or sweat that comes over your body, all of this, these are all signs that your body's telling you that this is too much for me right now. So we can be very effective even with light pressure, because so much of being able to let go of stress and tension during a massage is your ability to be able to release that tension. So sometimes, depending on what's going on in your experience, it might be better to have a more gentle massage, or it might be good to do kind of a blend where we're working more constructively on areas that are really causing trouble for you, and then on those other areas, it's a more soothing massage. So in this realm of uncomfortable massages, some people have experienced being bruised by therapists, where they'll find like black and blue marks, like little fingerprints on their body afterwards. And this is also letting us know that this is too much pressure. And this isn't something that we can always avoid, but it is something that we can definitely learn from, and that, like I said before, we really want to hear from you if this is something that has happened for you, because we want to make sure that you're getting the service that you're wanting. So some people who haven't received massage, they don't always know what to expect. And making sure that you're comfortable throughout the session is really important. And so in Texas, we actually have draping laws that make sure that your body's protected during the massage. So it is best when you come to a massage that you get completely undressed so that the therapist has full access to your body. But we only do this within the bounds of what's legal. So when we're working on you, you're always covered by a sheet and usually a blanket for warmth. And we're only uncovering one area of the body at a time. So only the area of the body that we're actually massaging is uncovered. So one leg at a time, just the back, one arm at a time. And of course, your private areas are always covered and protected, and that is not part of a massage that any of those areas ever be touched. And so it's also important for everyone to be safe, including the therapist, that it's fully understood that even though massage therapy is an intimate art form and we are interacting with touch and nudity, that nothing in the massage is ever to be perceived as sexual in nature. And that with that, we have laws that protect the therapist as well, that state that only the therapist can touch the client. So it's important that the client understand that you're there to receive, and that the therapist is going to take care of the decorum of how sheets are tucked and asking you when to turn over and things of this nature, so that everything can be handled in a very professional way. And if anything ever seems like it doesn't feel right to you, or it's going too close to an area that you're uncomfortable with, then you can absolutely let the therapist know that, and you can even end a session if you need to. And I'll just say that it is an unfortunate reality that there are, bad apples in every bunch, and that there are some people out there that are not handling the profession in the most ethical ways, and that it's important that you make sure that your therapist is licensed. I think that it's a good idea to make sure that someone has at least a few years of experience under their belt before you're going to them for any therapy. And with this realm of safety and comfort, there are some modalities that sometimes will leave marks on the body, but this is different than bruising, because bruising is a contusion. So this is often a kind of pressure to the body that causes the blood capillaries to burst. And because this is usually done with force, that creates swelling, often heat. This is because there's an injury there. And so that kind of bruising, it's tender to the touch. I'm sure you all have experienced where you've had some kind of injury, and afterwards it feels like it's hot to the touch, or it's puffy, and all of that is a response from the body to help you to heal, and to help you with your pain. Now, when we're working with different modalities that leave marks on the body, these marks are not bruises. And I'm going to explain this to you by walking you through one of my favorite modalities, which is called gua sha. And this is a gua sha tool. And gua sha is an ancient Chinese scraping method. And the word itself, it's two parts, gua sha. And gua is actually referring to massage or rub. And then sha is actually the color that's created from performing this therapy. And the way that this works is that when we come to a therapist and perhaps we have a tight shoulder where we can feel that we have knots in there, it's like lumpy and bumpy, and maybe we're experiencing headaches or difficulty with range of motion, or perhaps there's spasms, these types of things, and that shoulder is full of fibrotic connective tissue or fascia. And working out a problem like that with blunt fingers and elbows, this requires a lot of pressure in order for us to break up that tissue. So we have to work like really hard to break that up, and that can be really stressful on a person and to the tissue itself. And so this is where this tool comes in, where here we have this thin edge. So we get to use this thin edge to actually carve into that tissue. So into the fascia, we are scraping with the tool, which actually allows us to use less pressure and to get a deeper and more effective result. So what's happening is that when we're actually scraping into that connective tissue, we always have a lubricant when we do this as well, and this is very smooth. So even though it's scraping, it's not any kind of scratching or anything like that. It's very smooth and it's very deliberate. But what's happening is that this tool is actually creating micro traumas in the tissue. So it's breaking apart that connective tissue bit by bit, layer by layer. And when we've had an area that's been tight for a very long time, we won't have as good of circulation there as would be most optimal for us. And so then the blood actually gets stagnant in the area, and some waste materials might have collected in there, perhaps lactic acid. And so when we're creating those micro traumas, that stagnant blood comes to the surface. So it's dark in color. And this is that blood coming to the surface so that this new healing process can begin. So this is actually a healthy response when we have sha from gua sha, because it's showing us that we've actually alleviated that tension and we've allowed that stagnant blood to begin moving out. So that means new healthy blood. So that means new circulation and new flexibility, new tissue laying down as well, so that we can regain that range of motion and we can begin opening up those areas that have been tight for so long. So this is something that my massages, I do complete custom massages every session. So you don't have to pay extra for a modality like this. It's just offered to you. But I'm always asking for your consent before I use this. And just because this is an effective treatment doesn't mean that you have to have this in order to have an effective massage. This is just something that's in my toolbox that is offered to you if it seems like it's something that would be helpful for your body. But if you don't want to do it, you don't want to have marks on your body, or maybe you just want a more soothing massage, I'm going to find a way to help that shoulder to relax and to find flexibility in a different way. I've got a really big bag of tools that I can use with all the different kinds of trainings and different modalities that I do. And so it's just finding the right approach for you. So another thing on this topic that I want to share is that unfortunately some people have actually been burned during massage, and sometimes this comes from a heating blanket that's too hot, or it can come from this is a service that's called hot stones. So in my practice, this is actually an add-on. It is something that you would pay extra for if you wanted to do this service. But in the modality where we use hot stones, we put smooth stones into a hot water bath. And it's actually this bath that's behind my shoulder here. It's a big white crock pot, and it's filled with clean water and clean stones, and then they're heated up to a comfortable temperature as far as we know. But again, everyone's experience of what is too hot is really unique for them. So I usually test the stone above the client before I actually place them on them, but sometimes in certain settings, people are just taught to heat the stones to a certain degree, and then they just go to massaging with the stones, and perhaps someone is more sensitive to heat, or maybe their skin is cool at that time, and so the heat causes that response of perhaps a blister, or the skin gets red. I've even heard of people placing the stones perhaps on someone's back and leaving them there, where the stone is holding heat. So as it sits there, that heat's dissipating, and it can go out into the body, and it can burn a person. So this service, when done correctly, is so beneficial. It's so relaxing. But again, we have to make sure that things are comfortable for you. So this is something that you need to be communicating with the therapist, because the stones, they're heated to a certain temperature to start, but then as we're working, we're putting cold stones back in and adjusting the heat to make sure that they get warm again as we're working with other stones. And so there may be areas of the body that are more sensitive. You may become hot or cold during the session, and maybe you need more or less heat because of that. So in the same way that we adjust things with pressure, we need to adjust things with heat as well. And this also has to do with, do you need an extra blanket? Do you need warmth on the table? Is the music too loud in the studio? All of these things are to your choice, because this is your session. It's your time. And I've curated a space here, and it's my job to make sure that things are comfortable and that I have everything that you need. But if there's something that I'm not aware of and you want to let me know what might be best for you, please let me know. And even if you don't come to me for a massage, I think I can speak for all therapists in saying that we're here to help, and all we want is for you to have a good experience, and that anything you might need or want, please let us know. So I hope that this helps you in understanding how massage can be a really good experience for you, and how you have choice in whatever services you receive and how they're applied. And I hope that you'll check out my website and see what services I offer, and that I get the opportunity to take care of you soon. Have a great day, and thank you for your kind attention.